every time you're behind the wheel. It includes obeying all traffic laws, including the speed limit, and wearing a seatbelt, of course. Avoid distractions like texting and driving. Never drink and drive. And, of course, share the road by moving over when you see flashing lights on the road. In the past week, we've seen several crashes along the side of the road involving pedestrians, VDOT workers, even a state trooper. In one incident, a young woman was killed when a hit-and-run driver struck her and then sped off. Investigative reporter Chris Horn spoke with a woman who's been looking for the person who struck her in her car more than 6 months ago.
Anita Vicky Parker was on her way to work when she was struck not once but twice. She spent months recovering from severe head and face injuries and hasn't been back to work since. Vicky Parker was on her way to work with Newport News Schools March 1st, shortly after 5 that morning. Another car struck her on 64 eastbound. It was near Mercury Boulevard.
He kept going.
Okay. He or she, right?
Or she. Kept going. Yeah. And that was the thing that really got me, You left me there.
The impact drove her into the left median, and while she was stopped from the shock of that accident, she was struck by a second car. That second driver did stop, and then a police officer knocked on her car window.
It was the best thing I'd ever saw. When he got there, it was like an angel coming to the window. And I remember putting my hand on the glass, and I said, "Sir, I don't want to die." I just remember my head hurting so bad, but not knowing how bad my damage was yet.
And Parker had plenty of damage.
She had to repair the bone damage, and then I had to get plastic surgery done. They had to also sew the back of my head back up. There was a hole there, didn't even know it, and they had to sew my ear back on.
6 months later, she hasn't returned to work. Her vision is impaired in her left eye, and the driver that struck her is still out there.
How do you lay down at night knowing you left me on the side of the road? You don't know what damage you did to me.
And Vicky Parker wants to be a voice for the young woman who was killed by a hit-and-run driver just last week, Kayla Heigl. I'll have that part of the story in 1 hour. Chris Horn, 10 on your side.
How do you hit a whole person on the road and you just drive away like they're nothing?
A hit-and-run victim turned advocate. Hear her message to the person who left her on the side of the road. Plus, hundreds of...
Okay, I'm all up ready this morning, ready for Channel 10. I got the pictures ready for them to show them first where it started. This is me prior to getting into the collision. And then the next thing you know, my life changes. I got everything ready for them. I wanted to show them my process. And that how it was my beautiful daughter that answered the call that day, that connected with 911 for me. And how family has been the most important thing, connecting and seeing the strength in my daughters. And how the Lord allowed me to see my 50th birthday. I was able to see it. And I'm a survivor. And I thank God. Hi, my name is Vicky Parker. And as you can see, or have seen in the videos there, that God brought me out of so much. I am a survivor, and I am so thankful for that. I was asked to be here with you all tonight, but couldn't make it as I am still in my healing process. But I wanted to encourage you because you guys do so much, and it is extraordinary. Let me tell you a little bit. March the 1st, 2019, yes, the collision took place, but at the moment of impact, and I was able to come to, because I was knocked unconscious several times, but when I came to, one of the things I thought about was the mercy of God, the grace of God, how it covered me. I thought about my life and all it had entailed, things I was supposed to accomplish, I thought to myself, did I accomplish those tasks? And I asked God to forgive me if I hadn't. I asked him to have mercy on me, and I remember praying the Lord's Prayer. I said it so personal. Our Father, you are in heaven. Holy is your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my daily bread. Forgive me of all of my trespasses, and I will forgive those who trespass against me. Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. It all belongs to you, God. And I remember saying to him, help me, help me, help me, help me. I thought about my children, and I thought about how they were going to live out the rest of their lives. And my mind went to wanting to tell them how much I loved them. I couldn't see because of all the damage that was done to my face. So I said, okay, Google, to my phone, call Tamara, which is my baby daughter. And that phone call went through. And I was able to tell her how much I loved her and how much she meant to me. And I wanted her to tell her sisters, I have 2 other daughters, 3 total, that I love them and that I'm very proud of them. And I'll always love them. And then a peace came over me as I was waiting there. I was still afraid, but it was a type of peace that I can't even explain. And for 4 months preceding that accident, I lost my sight and I couldn't see out of this left eye. Now, you've heard my story, but I've got to tell you the glory that was revealed in the midst of my suffering. It was during that time I recognized I had lost my vision, but I had gained my sight. I started thinking about those things that were the most important. Love, giving of my heart, doing those things that God had called me to do, which brings me to this for you. I say you're extraordinary because of your sacrifice. Things that you could be doing for yourself, that you may see others do, but you don't do or can't do because you're caring for someone. I want you, in the midst of all of this, to recognize the grace of God that is covering your life. You are one of the extraordinary who recognize your calling and you're walking in it. My prayer for you today is that God would regenerate you with all faith, with all peace and joy and long suffering, that those things that you are called to finish and do in the lives of those that you care for, that you will complete the task. Your job is love. Whereas for some people, they consider it to be a job, but for you, it is love. I pray the blessings of God on your life and that you focus in on exactly what it is that God is saying for you to do in the lives of those that you care for. I pray for days that God will just give you time to reflect on Him, time to just call upon Him and ask Him to lead you and guide you. For some of you, it was a forced thing. Something happened to a loved one and you found yourself having to care for them. For others, it is something that you do without even thinking. You just do it because it's who you are. I want to thank God for you. I realized something while I was on my sickbed, those that cared for me. I recognized the difference between those who saw it as a job, but those who were anointed to do what they were doing. It was one nurse who came into my room. She was very fast and quick and touchy. Didn't take attention to small things. My eye was so swollen, as you could see in those pictures. And I remember one nurse coming in and just grabbing my eye, lifting it up, and I was in pain. And she was trying to put that drop in there. She was so rough, I had jumped. But then there was another nurse when she came in. She touched my arm before she began to do her work, and she talked to me for a minute. Miss Parker, you're doing good today. You're getting better every day. Your eye is opening up a little bit more every day. And she says, I want to give you your eye drops, Miss Parker. And she took her time and she gently touched my lid and she put the drops in. And there I was sitting there on my bed of affliction, unable to see clearly. But the Lord allowed me to see the difference between the two. I had people that visited my room that came in to speak to me, and some stood off afar, afraid to get close to me. Others came up really close and rubbed my arm and talked to me. And they said to me, it's going to be okay. Something about touch. It comforts, it calms. It's a connection that there's life, there's hope, there's love. It brings peace over the one that you're caring for. I know in my heart that those of you that are assembled there today, you are those extraordinary caregivers that were designed by God to care for those you love. I pray for your strength today to continue to do what you do because it matters. And in scripture, there is a word for you that if you do even the smallest thing, like give a cup of water to those that are less fortunate, you give it to God. It's like giving it to God. Everything that you do as unto the Lord. And for that, God rewards you. God rewards you. I pray your strength and your blessings as you continue on this journey. Continue to love and care for those because they need you. And without you being present, where would they be? I love you today, and I thank God for you today. And I thank God for this program that takes the time to honor you because you deserve it. You extraordinary caregiver. Thank you. Peace and love to you.